Yeah, what's up, folks? Nigerian adversary, we're back. Episode 4 time to talk about Bel-Air. Hopefully now, folks, you done checked out the first 3 episodes. You already checked out our review. I already know. Y'all showed a lot of love on that. And hopefully, by now, you're sold. You're sold like we are, because this has been a banging series thus far. I've seen a lot of positive feedback and other reviews also saying they liked it. So, you know, we're here for the rest of the season. And all of the reserves is off the table. Now it's time to get into it. But man, this episode was kind of nuts, man. And I think, you know, I usually don't start in this fashion, but I think we got to go right to the end of this one. We got to talk about this entirely different Godfrey Butler that is introduced in this.
I was gonna say, it's like that was the ultimate plot twist. This episode kind of took what I thought the show was doing and it went a whole nother direction. It was like, Jeffrey Statham? Okay. yeah, that was crazy.
It's funny too, because like when they call him G, I'm like, all right, look, I get it. It's a cool play on words, cool nickname or whatnot. But actually, he is a G. He out here doing some real things.
He's certified in the streets, apparently. Which it gives it a whole different energy now. It's like, yo, like I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah, and like it's crazy because we left off on episode 3 thinking Rashad is about to make moves on the West Coast and he's connected. Right. But G out here like, cool. So go ahead and hold my beer.
Yeah. Like, oh, you want the smoke? All right, I'm in the smoker section. We good.
So I'm really liking that, man, because like now this character becomes the most unpredictable character of the entire series. Yes. I mean, and not again, as we spent a lot of time talking about it, these characters are, you know, are basically their own really fleshed out 3-dimensional versions of the 1D versions, I would call it them, in the sitcom. So we're getting a lot more of who we sort of know those characters to be. This character is just not even on the radar in terms of anything we could ever expect. And so I can't wait to see what he does next. And like the thing is, he makes a few calls, he does a few meetings, he's moving really strategic and making big things happen. So I can't wait to see. The scene
where they pulled up with the cars, I thought that was so slick. How he pulled up, a couple words, and then when he said, yo, they asking for more money, and then he was like, how much? I didn't even bother to ask because we're not paying. And then my man didn't even respond. He just rolled up the window and peeled off. I'm like, okay.
It is what it is.
What it is. It's crazy. And can I also mention, which I don't know if I brought up last time, but in all 4 of the episodes, it's been very consistent. The drip. Like this episode, the fit that Carlton had on was stupid. Mind you, for me, like that's not like that style of dress is not what I do. I'm typically like jeans, sweats, t-shirt, and I keep it simple. But that the fit he had, with the patches on the pants, and he freaked it with the olive colored shoes and like the varsity, like the drip was stupid on everybody. And it's been consistent like all the episodes from the beginning. Yeah,
I definitely was about to say that about Jazzy as well too, which is another character too we're getting some more of. And I think in this episode again, we're getting a lot more of the conflicts amongst one another, what each character are kind of dealing with internally, how each character kind of needs another character. So there's a lot of intertwining between demand and needs amongst one another. And it's becoming interesting because this was literally an episode of a I need you, you need me, and we're seeing it more and more. So everyone's trying to help somebody else out in one way, shape, or form, or realizing like they're all really one big piece to a puzzle, where it's like this person, if you work with this person, then we can accomplish some things. We saw that, you know, with Hillary and Jazz. We're seeing Aunt Viv and Will, which is interesting. Aunt Viv and
Uncle Phil.
Yeah,
you're right. That dynamic of that. You're right. I was gonna say I liked in this episode how they explored the dynamic between Will and Carlton, because it's like we gotta work together. I don't really rock with you, but in the process of that, Carlton humbles himself to say, all right, let me hear what you're saying, or let me try your approach, because you seem to be more effective with it. And then that turning into, yo, Carlton, back me when I run this by Uncle Phil, and we'll do this big public event instead of the private party. So I thought the whole part between when they were campaigning for the voting registration and the actual event, the way the show explored their dynamic, the love-hate, like it's like a love-hate relationship on a real level between those two. And I thought it was executed and presented like very well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And again, like I think, you know, we'll start going into different parts of this episode, but yeah, I think there is a lot of just intertwining pieces amongst one another, different and how these characters solely, we're getting like arcs, but like also in being in tangents with others, like how they're also telling bigger stories as well too. And it's easy to say, like, you know, Carlton is, you know, he's a cornball brother, and Will is for the people, but yet one another. Why you can say I like one and you don't like the other, when you see them work together, you kind of like, all right, I kind of buy into this, like I can get with this. So you know, it's gonna be interesting.
And I love them both. Like I'm here for whatever's coming from either of them characters. I love both of them. I love the dynamic of the, like they're on dual ends of the spectrum, but they somehow end up somewhere in the middle. I love the whole how the characters play off each other. I think is brilliant.
The word I'm stuttering to kind of find out, but now it easily comes to my tongue, is balance here. Because like in the beginning of this episode, I just was not feeling Uncle Phil. I'm like, he's just very dismissive. I mean, he definitely disrespected Aunt Viv and saying like formerly an artist. Like that hurt her ego. That was definitely a low blow there. But we see that they're better together when they both work together. She helps him become a better person, and ultimately we see his whole campaign change. We see his whole demeanor change. So like it's just more efficient when they're together, you know.
And I loved the, what would you call that, I guess like the cinematic element of the scene where that happens. So he makes the remark about her being an artist. She gets mad, and instead of him going back and forth and Tiffany, he stops and he's like, nah, keep going. And then she's like, are you sure? I'm gonna start leaning on you. Nah, go ahead. Say what you got to say. I loved how they presented that. And even like with the camera angle, because when she started to go, she was like, all right, well, first of all, you did it. The angles that they chose to depict that, I thought it was great. And it added to like the feeling of the scene. To me, it made the scene like more intense. And also the scene, I guess, from that where he addresses the public, where they're at the skating ring and they start asking the questions. The way he started, you know, walking into that, I guess, when the lady asked him about the police reform, and then the chief of police is right there, even all of that, the angles and going back and forth and the facial expressions, it just like they do the damn thing, man. I was and like even the overall arc of this episode here, like we kind of go into this thinking like the message is about, and they say knowing how to work the system. And we'll figure it out. Carlton has already figured it out. It sounds like a educated approach, but in a sense, it's kind of manipulative, because we're seeing folks essentially using others to get what they want. And while it may benefit the others to some extent, you're not genuinely doing it because you want to. That's in regards to what Carlton is doing with trying to get the votes for his dad. And that's sort of where we kind of see Will, you know, approaching Aunt Viv, was saying like, I need Trey out here, what can I do? And she's reading up on this, and I really love the Aunt Viv dynamic. I think regardless, I'm never going to call her Viv. She's always going to be Aunt Viv, because the most important thing is that she has this mothering nature about this character, so she's easily picking up on everything that's going on. She's easily able to dissect every single thing. And even though her and Hillary had that moment where Hillary was like, you know, could you ever just be happy for me, or whatever she said, and you know, she kind of went back to herself and said, I shouldn't speak up every time he's saying, that's like a big moment right there, you know. And I think that like while we started off this episode in a sense of like working the system, we kind of end this episode essentially saying, but no, we don't have to work the system or work each other. We can actually work together and accomplish what we want. And that's a more happy, safe, you know. And I thought that theme, like what you just said, was also highlighted very well between Jeffrey and Ashley. Just what you said, the same thing. Why are you sneaking around? Just, you know what I'm saying? Just Like, you ain't got to do all that. And then she ends up, she's at the thing, and then her people, he brings her friends. So I thought that was very well, like, an illustrated point between those two characters as well.
Yeah. Going to Jazzy Jeff a little bit, like I said, his fit was dope as hell. You know, and we know he got multiple hustles. We're starting to see the music side of him now, which is what everybody's kind of waiting for. He owns the music shop. And much like I would expect his character to do, he does not have social media. I saw that coming from a mile away, and I already knew once Hillary came in here, she was going to be a part about booming his business. Here's what I'm really liking about these two together. It's obviously that they may be driving down this path of there may be potential love interest, but also I did that they like also say like, yo, we just work really dope together. And I think we may see this camaraderie between the two of them where they're like brothers, sisters, and you know, that's how, because at some point he has to essentially become family. And while he's been at the house a few times, you know, at some point we're going to have to see him more or less being just intertwined within the banks. And I think that this is where we're going to see the different the start of his arc, and basically being the one to really balance Hillary, because she's very confident. I mean, she's on cloud nine in terms of being a social media influencer, and her whole goal is to get out of her parents' house. And I think that she's also very much like a lot of us has been, where we think we're too grown to be told no, or too grown to be, you know, listen to advice from our parents, and we got this and we move on. I mean, that's kind of where we kind of saw at the end, where she's like, why can't you just be happy for me? And like, we know Aunt Vid's not coming from a malice place, but Hillary doesn't know that, you know. And I think Jazzy Jeff is going to play that medium right there, where he's going to kind of keep her head screwed on, and I think that's what's going to be kind of dope, you know. And I think it's going to help him too, because like, he's a hustler, she's a hustler, they're entrepreneurs, both of them. And I think that, you know, obviously their tools can work together to kind of build something. But like, I think we're going to see maybe some really cool things going on. For the fact that his shop appears to be in LA, because they showed the donut thing. I love if they get to some point where he gets to do like a block party or something like that, and she hosts it. I mean, show us that real West Coast vibe. Give me that.
The scene, and the scene, it does set up for that. I got the vibe. I guess I wasn't reading into it too deeply. I just took it as, okay, this is where they introduce the love interest between the two characters. But you're right. It's a few different ways they could go from initiating that. So I think, it'll be interesting to see which way they decide to run with it. I'm here for whatever way they decide to run with it. But I definitely, it gave me that vibe. Like, okay, something's about to go down between those two characters in whatever capacity.
Yeah. I can't stop talking about Aunt Viv, and, you know, we see her really trying to reconnect with her passion in painting. I mean, this episode is called Canvas. It's really, and obviously we know, like, you know, this is definitely pointing towards, you know, what she used to do as a profession. She gave it up, and she's been challenged by that for 4 episodes now. And I think, you know, for us, I mean, at least we can recognize that, like, this is what parents do. They kind of sacrifice some of the things that they've always loved for the better good of the family. And it's not typically a thing that guys do for the family, but it's very standard and customary for women to do that, to say, like, you know, I used to be this, or I used to love this, but I did stop so I can keep the family together. And I'm super interested in seeing, you know, as we're seeing each by episode, little things are sparking it till we ultimately get her to get back to it. Now, I got a fantasy book this one as well too. I also think that Hillary is going to be involved with her having some type of show with her paintings and getting back on the mark, them working together. I know Viv believes in her and what she can do, but I don't think she's very much connected in the sense of saying, like, that's an avenue for revenue, and that's a way of profession. Like, I know she believes she can do big things in social media, but we also know, like, you know, she could be more than that, and I think that's what Aunt Viv thinks. But I think the two of them are at some point going to come together to realize there's a bigger picture if they work together, instead of kind of bumping heads about this, you know. So
That's interesting. See, I feel like it'll be the opposite. With the last comment Aunt Viv made, it's like it's putting Hillary in a mind state where she's just convinced, like, yo, she's not rocking with me. Yeah. She's not believing in what I'm doing. And it seems like even like from last episode and this episode, when Hillary, like, as she further attempts to move ahead in her journey, she seemed to keep hitting the same roadblocks. And I hear her saying the same thing to like the different characters, that they don't believe in me, or they don't see the vision. They don't. So I think it may work out, you know, a few episodes down the line where she takes the social media influence and is able to monetize it in a way where it's like, this was the vision. This is where I was going. And she may have it may be presented in a told you so moment to mom. Like, so, Mom, I told you. Yeah. So it may, I feel like that may be the way they go with it, but I'm interested to see.
Yeah. Hey man, what's your thoughts about seeing Will on the keys, man?
I thought it was because when I saw it, I tried to run my mind, but I was like, yo, did he do that in the original? Was there any connection to the sitcom with the, and I don't recall him ever doing anything musically or in that regard. But I thought it was dope. I thought it was dope that, you know, I guess he has that talent or ability. And then my mind went to, okay, I don't know if they put that in there as it's gonna connect back to him and Hillary in some fashion, and where he helps her or does something in that regard musically to help push her forward, or if it was just like a this is kind of like following his passion. Like when he explained, I didn't have the piano. My mom just painted the keys and I just did it in my mind and just played it. So I wonder if that was like a symbolism kind of moment where I'm in my essence doing what I do. And Hillary happens to come in and see that where her confidence isn't as high, but it's like, oh, all right. And then that gives her the boost to kind of step out and do what she's going to do.
That's fair. I like that. I think this simply to add too. I think like it's just showing that Will is multi-talented and not just the stereotypical black athlete. He can play basketball, but he also is a musician as well. I think we're just going to keep seeing this character have more and more talents and skill evolve. Great word. Great word. But I can't talk about it enough. My man Jeffrey, this at this point now, just head of security and a lot more.
He really gives me the Jason Statham vibes because he got the accent. He has the three-piece suit. He has the staunch, you know, straight to the point demeanor. Like everything about it, it's like he's the Black Statham.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Bodies just started dropping already, and that was the crazy part because there was the foreshadowing when Will comes in and he's like, yo, G, do you know why I'm here? And my man had all the fact. Yeah, so and so you got into it. Yeah, we got that. That's nothing.
Yeah.
Yo, we'll handle it. Well, we gotta. The beef is good. He ain't trying to. Yo, I got that. Relax.
Yeah.
And it's like, huh? Okay.
Yeah, that's why he said he told Uncle Phil, like, look, I got a security update right now. The target has been eliminated.
Like, at the end, yes. Like, yo, I got some security.
Yeah, you need to be briefed, sir.
Be briefed.
Go to the debrief. Go to the situation room right now. Things are crazy.
Yeah.
So talking about Will a little bit more, you know, we did learn about Lisa and her relationship with her mother, who died from lupus, who was also in a sorority, who happened to be in the same sorority as Aunt Viv. So that's where they all really get, you know, connect. But I think it's important too, because while we know that Lisa is essentially still grieving from that, because she's very protective about who she talks to her mother with. She says, we're friends, I tell you. So obviously this is still something very heavy to her. Here's Aunt Viv again, still being that nurturing one to let her know that it's safe. Even though that relationship ain't work out, you still good. You still got us and stuff. And I think it's going to be interesting to kind of see where that goes with Lisa. But on the other end of the coin, her father is a cop.
Yeah.
And Will doesn't bang with the blue. He is very anti-cop.
Yes, and I thought, again, it was brilliant the way they gave him that trigger moment in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because that's been an ongoing theme in every episode. He's always triggered by those certain things. And he's in there minding his business, just watching his hands. Her dad comes out and he just frees up and goes back into that, you know, that real again. So I like how they did that. And I thought their they were very strategic, or they've been thus far. They're very strategic in the ways that they insert those moments. Yeah. Like even in the I think that was the last episode where he joined the basketball team, and the same kind of deal. Like, yo, my game is off and I can't do it. And he had to talk with Uncle Phil, and he's like, every time I see a cop or every time such and such comes up, my mind I lock up and I can't, you know. So where you think he's over it because now he starts hooping and he's like, oh, we got his shot back. I'm looking at him like, all right, he's beyond that. And then the very next episode, oh, okay, no, maybe he's not. So I thought that was real slick how they did that.
Listen, it's not even nothing to add here. I mean, these type of traumas, especially in the Black community, these things don't go away. And I think that like we're gonna just keep seeing that put on the forefront, that like this is always going to be an ongoing thing for Will. And like I said, everybody has internal conflicts that they're dealing with, and we're going to kind of see like what helps him get out of this. Does Trey coming to LA, does that help balance this a little bit? Because that was another person that, you know, can relate to the situation. You know, does that help him ultimately get over that incident in Philly? You know,
and I think, well, and that's a brilliant question. I think the dynamic shifts. Prior to the end of the episode, I would have said, yeah, that's going to make the difference. But remember, right toward the end, when he calls him, yo, you coming out to LA, you good? Oh, yeah, and I got some good news for you too. So-and-so's dead.
Yeah.
So now it's like, technically, he don't really need to come to LA because the problem's been solved. But the fact, like you said, now he's out there, what door does that open? How does that play out? Because the threat's now gone. You can see the questions brewing in Will's mind. He's already putting 2 and 2 together. And then how does that play out when Trey's there? How does that whole thing work? So listen, I don't know. Yeah.
Listen, one thing I know about Will in any of these shows is that he's always upfront about what he's thinking. Yes. I can't wait, and hopefully it's next episode that Will confronts G and say, do you have something to do about this? And I cannot wait to hear what his response is going to be, because we know this new, like as you're saying, Jeffrey Statham, he's going to be so dismissive of that. And the question is, does that then break the trust within the household now? You know, and we know how Will is.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it leaves several questions, as it should, and it just sets up for more good TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
bingo.
It's a couple ways they can run with that. So I'm here for it.
I know I should mention Ashley. Ashley was, you know, in the episode being young and adventurous and out skipping to be with her friends, and guess she got a little boo or whatever, and she's out here playing, I don't know, what is that, Jurassic Park?
Some kind of Jurassic Park versus fighter or something like that.
So nothing really to make of her, but it should be known that she's getting very curious about the world and getting out, putting on lip gloss and stuff like that. So, you know, I think at some point we're going to see her have some adolescence troubles and mishaps, and, you know, that should be interesting.
Yeah, and I'm wondering again, because I feel like there's always a lot of foreshadowing. There was a line in the dialogue where Jeffrey had mentioned, yo, you got to be careful because some people out here use you to get money out of your parents. So it's like, does that, now that the seed is planted, does that mean a few episodes down the line she gets kidnapped? Is there some plot twist that unfolds that results in her being the victim of something? Or again, you got so many angles you can run with it. So I'm excited for the next episode. And even though Rashad's dead, he got in the strip club and whatnot, I'm also a little bit disappointed, because I'm like, dang, I was actually liking the idea that like he on the way, he on the next flight, he gonna at some point he gonna land in LAX, and he gonna be like, now where Will at? And be right on. I was waiting for it. I thought they was going, the scene where the dude pulled up in the car and was looking at Will, I thought I was like, I was about to pop off.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, that problem's handled. Nah, we good. It's like, damn, bro.
Crazy. Got in the strip. Hey, those strip clubs in Philly, man, they rough, man. You gotta watch yourself out here.
Apparently.
But yeah, folks, this is our review or recap, whatever you wanted it to be, of episode 4. You know, we got y'all all season, so we'll be back for episode 5. Let us know your thoughts about tonight's episode. Let us know your favorite character thus far, what your predictions going forward. I think this is really the pivotal episode in terms of where things could go. I think the first 3 really laid the foundation. I think it really grabbed the audience trust. And I think that now that everyone has sat in a seat, fastened their seatbelts, the plane has taken off. At some point, we're going to get to our destination, which is the finale. And hopefully, you don't do anything crazy while you're in the air. We'll be here, but we just hope that you stay in your seat at the same time.
Already.
But yeah, that'll do it, folks. And let us know in the comments your thoughts about tonight's episode. And we'll see you back for episode 5.
Peace.